Good job.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Phil Kim. What's my nickname at work? I'm Filibuster. So, I'm honored to be able to roast Emery because we've all been waiting for this moment for many years. We prepared, and look at him. I mean, look at him. And put a top hat on him, give him a monocle and a cane, and his Mr. Planter's peanuts roasted. He got roasted at Super Bowl halftime, right? So he is very roastable and is a good sport. If he can withstand his children and his wife's vicious roasting, he can stand me. So I worked on it and I realized that I filibustered. So I frantically called my censor and editor, Rupal. And so we met at Donia, and then we worked. Does this one work too? Yep. Okay. Maybe I need to stand. Okay. Oh, okay, I'll just take. Sorry. So we worked on it, we did our best. But the only way for me to keep it as short, as content as possible is read really fast. And I was practicing reading really fast and I sound like a southern evangelical minister. So please bear with me. And if you feel like saying hallelujah, praise the Lord, Allah Akbar, or Yahweh, if you're ready, feel free to do so. So, I have titled my speech, The Mysterious and Ageless Emery Neil Fong, because even after having known him for 22 years, what I am most certain about him is that you can't put Emery in a particular mold. And based on his look and things he says, it is impossible to know exactly how old he is. Now, if I asked him, he'll probably tell me his age, but then my speech will fall apart, so bear with me. We're fortunate to count Emery among our HBS collective because his career took a rather circuitous turn. In his brightness as a promising youth, he could have taken any career path and succeeded. We all know that. Instead, he chose the field of medicine and had aspiration about many specialties within it. He loved ophthalmology because it was eye-opening. He loved OBGYN because it was thigh-opening. He enjoyed cardiology because it made his heart throb. He enjoyed urology because it made his heart throb. He loved infectious disease but was eventually turned off by it because of their cancel culture. He loved gastroenterology because he's an avid biker who loved to put air in the tube. And his favorite dog breed was chocolate Shih Tzu poodle. But he turned his behind on the specialty since he did not like the idea of warming his hand in cold winter only one finger at a time. But in the end, did the dessert come? No. In the end, Emery came to a realization that what he truly loved the most among all his aspirations was the aspiration itself. So, he became a pulmonologist. That was a good. I'm most proud of that one, and it's all downhill from here. He did his pulmonary critical care fellowship at VA Martinez, right? Yes. He tells me his fellowship was a blast to mycosis. And he was one of the first to be paid in crypto. But that will be our little secret, and I won't Fungi tag because I'm a candidate that kind of guy. Bring it. Amen. Hallelujah. Emery should have known pulmonology was his true calling at young age, since his favorite subject in grade school was PE. While many of us like to fall asleep at night to the soothing environmental sound of forest, ocean, and rainfall, Emery opted instead to record his own sounds from the ICU and lulled himself to sleep at night. Here are some of the clips we recovered. No one really knows exactly what happened during those dark years as a pulmonary attendant. He worked long hours at many private hospitals, and then he joined Sacramento Kaiser, and yada yada yada. He's a hospitalist now. We all had memories of sitting in circle in kindergarten and being asked what we would like to become when we grow up. Oh, I'd like to be a hospitalist, says no one. But here you are, a hospitalist. And he became one of the 8 founding members of then Oakland, now East Bay HBS, under the leadership and tutelage of the great Betsy Anderson. Betsy hired me, by the way, guys. I met Emery somewhere in his mid-career when I joined Oakland Group in 2001. When he walked over to welcome me, I honestly had no idea what he would sound like when he spoke. I thought this man would either have a thick ethnic accent, or he'd be more like, gee, golly whiz, nice to meet you. When he was complimented upon his brilliance, would he respond, elementary, my dear Watson? Or ancient Chinese secret? Here. If he prepared a lovely feast for his Lori, would he say, voila, bon appetit, mon amour? Or, no MSG? But, as I grew to know him, it became evident that this Emery Neil Fong is a brilliant and eloquent man with photographic memory and worldly understanding of the known, the unknown, and the unknowable. He could cite an obscure European case report on a rare and esoteric immune disease. Then minutes later, he would be reciting the script of a Godfather movie line by line. He is an aficionado of all worldly literature, but he is also well-versed in contemporary American poetry and has been known to intone complex verses and rhymes flawlessly, including this classic jewel that he is so fond of. This is an excerpt from a gospel with the original biblical title of Thou Shalt Not Place Thy Hand Upon This by a East Bay poet named Stanley Kirk Burrell. Here it goes. My. Music hits me so hard. Makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me with a mind to rhyme. Then to
feels good. Or you know it should. You know it should. A souped up homeboy from Old Oakland.
Case in point, I told you, homeboy. That is actually for those who don't know. Thou shalt not place thy hand upon this is actually translated as you can't touch this. Emery is a multifaceted true Renaissance man and a trivia king who often answers questions in the form of questions. What a storied career, and I say that not just because of all the tales of his heroics, but mainly because he loves to tell stories. And Emery loves to tell the same stories over and over again because his brain lacks this guy with the clicker who keeps track of what story he told to whom, when, and how many times. I mean, if I had to hear that story about being asked to IND a brain acid on a patient with an open skull, the number of times Isabel and I kicked each other's leg under the table during those Groundhog Day moments at Summit. Shout out to the Summit crew. Now onto his age. No one knows exactly how old Emery is, given his ageless, youthful feature and tales he tells. That places him somewhere in time several decades wide. He would say things that sound like Sir William Osler was his attending. Then, under the same breath, he'll say, "Oh, I gotta go. My dad is buying me a computer today." He's like that character from Slaughterhouse-Five who can simultaneously coexist in several places in the same timeline. So, I trace his past by gathering all the real and urban legends, stories that I've heard about Emery, and here's what I know. He says all his childhood memories are in black and white. And in all of his old family photos, nobody's smiling. Growing up, all his toys were made of wood. His favorite superhero action figure was Iron Lung. Maximum negative pressure! No wonder he's a pulmonologist. Emery has had the same email address for decades on a server where connection starts with a string of long clusters of beeping noise and it ends with, "You've got mail." And to this day, his photographic memory still uses an explosive powder flash for illumination. We can also guess his age by learning about the history of medicine while he was in it. He hails from the time when nurses wore those bendy hairpiece thingies and came at you with giant glass syringes that they sterilized at the end of the day by boiling. During his days, everybody scattered away from a shattered thermometer on the floor so as not to get mercury poisoning. He comes from the time when it was popular to coin eponyms like, it's called here, Swanson schwannoma, Ayubi's syncope, Kituma's big tuma, and of course, Swede syndrome. He comes from the time it was cool to add the letter O in front of E in medical terms, like O esophagus or O edema. They did not have fancy bedside electric tools like ultrasound probably. But back then, doctors were truly cowboys who gained vascular access using a hand drill, and they called it E-I-E-I-O needle. Emery definitely started during the paper charting era because he was notorious for his chicken scratch penmanship that no one could decide. There are some victims in it. There was no Rosetta Stone for this. Even Juan Carlos Cesena threw up his hand. One time, an overhead automatic electric defibrillator paddles fell onto Emery's notes, registered his handwriting as a shockable rhythm, warned everybody to stand back, and incinerated the child. Oh, that reminds me, did I ever tell you about the time when I had to IND brain asset? The most important reason why it is so tough to gauge Emery's age is because he prides in keeping himself physically fit. He's an avid bicyclist who has gone on many long rides up and down the California coastline, as well as death ride. Right? Yes. Legend has it. Once, while riding his bike, he tripped over a 30-foot long anaconda, flew out of his seat, landed on an asphalt like a tumbleweed. Then he got up, he picked up his clavicle, and he rode on. Wow, Emery, you're truly my superhero. You're like that Marvel superhero Jeremy Renner of Snowcat. Hurt Locker. Hawkeye. Too soon. Okay. I admire and envy Emery's excellent shape. Although, truth be told, I would push myself to the brink too if I knew I had negative cardiac catheterization when I went to the emergency. But what turned out to be a kidney stone. But my hip hurts. So, I was nowhere close to figuring out this obsession of mine. How old is Emery? Until one day, Harpreet, the great Mahal, revealed to me the hidden secret. As men, and especially Asian men, age, we gradually lose our muscle mass of gluteus maximus, and our asses start sagging. So, in order to keep our pants up, we have to tighten our waist belt at a higher and higher level, inch our way up until that one day we yearn to finally reach that rungs of our ribcage where our belts can find more secure perches. When we watch our children grow, we can stand them up against the wall, put a ruler on top of their head and mark their height, and watch new lines being drawn higher as they grow up. We can do the same thing for Asian men. Many of you think this is funny, but this has a potentially serious health implications. The American Society of Gastroenterology recently modified the distinction between the upper and lower GI bleed, using the belt line as the point of demarcation. Therefore, although I wish Emery would be healthy eternally, if he is ever to present with coffee ground emesis and melena, based on where his finger points, he could end up with a colonoscopy. Ah, Emery, where do you get the fountain of energy? But even the man of seemingly boundless energy must rest sometimes to recharge and refresh. This is why we often see Emery in the postprandial slumber state, in the comfort of his office chair, and why this unsanctioned siesta is a necessity for him. There are many pictures taken of Emery in a sweet state of sleep. And sleep. I find this particularly ironic because Emery is one of the most woke individuals I know. And by woke, I'm not referring to a large, bullshit Chinese cooking pan. Oh, Emery. I'm sorry. Oh, Emery. Your long-awaited moment of retirement has finally come. You waited for that March bonus, and we got to enjoy you a little longer. When I thought of Emery's retirement, I envisioned that we're those green aliens in the vending machine from the movie Toy Story, where the claw swoops down and grasps Emery and hoists him up like a Hoya lift.
Yeah, thank you.
And as we collectively chant, "Ooh," Emery bids us goodbye, saying, "Oh, farewell, my friends. I go to a better place." You made it. You crossed over to that promised land that is a tightly guarded secret. So what is it like on the other side of that great giant hill that we call Mount Ponzi? Is there free breakfast buffet every morning? Josh wants to know. Is there a daily huddle? No one wants to know. You must be enjoying the world of unlimited hours of bed, bath, and beyond. With all the beverages and more. Shout out to Laurent. It's like Leon died and went to Costco every day. I know you look back upon your years at Kaiser and have many fond memories like Fenton's ice cream, friendship, Yoshi's, and Fenton's ice cream. But we know there are moments of sadness, pent-up angst, rage, and frustration as well along the way. I hope as you go forward on your life's journey and go on long bike rides, that you will take the time to stand on some mountaintops, shout out, and rid yourself of all your emotions once and for all. Then you will be truly free and happy. And I know you will be fulfilling your long-awaited dreams and writing new chapters to be added to your already awesome legacy that you leave behind. Years from now, our descendants will be roaming the East Bay Hills and retracing the footsteps in the mountain trails and deep wilderness. And when things are quiet, I imagine they will hear the echoes of your imprinted roars resonating across the valleys. If you guys are quiet, I think I can hear that now. RuPaul, this is your key. Wait, RuPaul, say that again.
Ayala.
You want to finish us off today? Thank you very much.